Hi, everybody. Joe Cioffi here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. Coming up tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. Looks like this is the last nice weather day we're going to have because we're going to see onshore flow and clouds, maybe some showers on Saturday, but improving weather conditions for Sunday. Rain across parts of the Gulf states, into the Carolinas, the southwest and western part of the U.S. continue to bake in late summer heat. So we'll talk all about that and more tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, and that's at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. And as we take a look at the satellite loop this morning, you can see clouds in the Atlantic from east of the Carolinas, southwestward into the southeast and across the Gulf states. So we've got a couple of little waves of low pressure that are rolling along in uh, this broad southwest flow that is over the Gulf of Mexico. Is an old frontal boundary here that disintegrated, and as a result, we've got a series of waves here. Here's the first. Here's one. Oops. Let's get that. There you go. Let's get that pencil there. And then we get the first wave of low pressure sitting in the western Gulf. They've been getting showery rains along the Gulf Coast for days. There's another wave that's out here in the Atlantic that's moving to the northeast. And while all of this is going on, we've got high pressure off of Cape Cod. So that's going to turn the winds today to an easterly direction. Fortunately, there's so much dry air that it's not going to really be a problem. I think this will be another day where we will see plenty of sunshine and temperatures in the 70s across eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England. We've got a weather front, and that's going to be our weather system for later Saturday and Saturday night. And the good news is that with the waves to the south and to the east, none of these waves, certainly the one to the east is not an issue, but the little spin-ups that are in the Gulf of Mexico, they're not developing into tropical storms, and they're not coupling with this front, and that's important because that means that the rain that we get here later Saturday and Saturday night will be showery rains. It'll be an inconvenience to some folks, and rainfall amounts will probably be in the range of about a quarter to a half an inch. Here's what the radar looks like this morning. Nothing going on from Maine down into Virginia. We've got some precipitation aloft in the Carolinas and in North Georgia. Again, the drier air is preventing a lot of this stuff from reaching the ground. It is reaching the ground as you get closer to the Gulf Coast, where radars have been busy along the Texas coast and into Louisiana. More rain moving in there today, as well as areas in southern Alabama, southern Mississippi, and over into the Florida Panhandle. We have some showers and storms moving across the western Great Lakes and moving to the east, but here too, no problems, I think, when it comes to severe weather. The Storm Prediction Center for today has a small area of marginal risk in New Mexico, nothing in the west, nothing in the east for the most part, except for southern Georgia down to Florida as far as any general thunderstorms are concerned. We do have a marginal risk for severe weather in a small area Friday into Saturday, Ohio, western Pennsylvania, into northern Kentucky and southeast Indiana, maybe some isolated severe thunderstorms in there. And as we move on to Saturday, general thunderstorms from New York State down to Florida and west to Louisiana, no severe weather risk being indicated. As far as rainfall amounts are concerned, looking at a quarter of an inch down through New Jersey and Long Island, half an inch amounts as you go a little further north in the Hudson Valley and upstate New York, and back into northwestern Pennsylvania and northeast Ohio. Significant rains continue with several inches or more, additional inches or more along the Texas and Louisiana coast, as well as areas extending to the Florida Panhandle and into the northern half of Florida. The rest of the country is enjoying dry weather. Most rainfall amounts generally under a quarter of an inch, a little more active in the parts of New Mexico and southern Colorado, but these 7-day rainfall amounts there are, nothing really to write home about. So it's all really about this cold front here, the waves to the south. You can see the rain in the Gulf Coast, wave offshore the Carolinas, moving out to the northeast. The next spin up is probably going to pass off the Carolina coast as well. The cold front will push eastward. Now, for the rest of today, obviously no issues. Friday, with that wind off the ocean, we're going to start to saturate the atmosphere. So I think there's probably going to be more cloud cover to deal with. Although, as far as rain is concerned, unless somebody gets into some spotty light rain or drizzle, it should be mostly a dry day. And in fact, I think the further inland you go, the better chance that you have of seeing some sunshine. Then Saturday will be a cloudy-ish day. We'll have some showery rains around during the day, Saturday into Saturday evening. The good news here is that that front keeps on moving, and high pressure builds in with a cool, dry air mass coming in for Sunday and Monday. And in fact, that cool air is going to be spreading throughout much of the southeast as that next weather front pushes down to the Gulf Coast. And when we look ahead to next week, it's mostly quiet across the United States with very little in the way of precipitation. Uh, High pressure is going to be dominating the weather scene in the eastern part of the state, in the eastern part of the U.S. pretty much all week long. We might warm up a little bit uh, toward the middle and latter part of next week, depending on which way the wind is blowing. If it's coming in from off the ocean, it'll keep temperatures down a bit on some days, and on other days, it'll probably warm up. So no big changes here, no tropical storms, no hurricanes to speak of, at least from what we're seeing at the moment. And tonight we'll go through it all over again on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a great Thursday. We will see you tonight.